She's beautiful. Oh. Okay, I'm so interested to see how this image becomes. Sorry, my dog is slurping right now. How this image becomes significant to the story. Beautiful. 382. It's a pretty good size. I'm nervous. Today is the day. Happy sunrise on the reaping day. Though I don't think it's going to be happy based on what we know about Hamish's games. I have been so looking forward to reading this just because, one, I love the Hunger Games. Two, because I think Hamish's story is one that I feel like is most intriguing to me. So I'm so excited to read this. I will say I did not read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Don't hate me. I read The Hunger Games like back in middle school, loved them, and then when The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out and like there was like the Hunger Games Renaissance, I reread the original trilogy, ate it up. That was like one of my first obsessions since I became a reader again. I just loved it. I was obsessed. I even annotated a copy to give as a gift to my best friend. I was making playlists for Pete and Katniss. Like, I was eating it up. But The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Snow is evil, and I don't need to see an evil origin story to know that someone is evil. So I did not personally read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but I did see the movie, so I feel like I have the context necessary to read this. So basically I'm just gonna do a little reading vlog, read this with you. I'm just gonna check in with you every so often, tell you my thoughts, and I will say this will be spoiler free until the very end. I'm going to give my spoiling thoughts, but the vlog part will be spoiler free, and I'll warn you before any spoilers begin. Read this with me, be terrified with me, be sad with me. Okay, it's time. I'm scared because I read Powerless and Powerful last night. I finished both of those as a reread, and I sobbed reading Powerful, and I have heard great but heartbreaking things about this. But I will say I'm so excited, and I've seen people saying amazing things about this, so I'm really excited. Catching Fire is my favorite. It's gonna be hard to top, but we'll see. I'm excited. Okay, The Reaping, we're keeping the spoiler free, so I'm gonna be vague, but how that took place, oh my gosh, was not expecting that, didn't know that. Also with The Reaping, it's fascinating to see the like production behind it. We're getting a much clearer glimpse of how produced these things are. This Drusilla character, that's just an evil name. Okay, I just finished chapter 2. These are long chapters, okay? There's already been several, which I've seen this said online, so I don't feel like it's a spoiler. Familiar names that have been said. One specifically that confuses me because they have a much bigger part in the main series. It just makes me curious from how they got to here to there. Also, this poor man, I'm only 36 pages in and he's suffered enough trauma for a lifetime. Also, the production aspect I was mentioning before got worse. Sick and twisted. Hello, it's the next night. I am obsessed. I am loving Maisie. Chapter 4. I love some good deserved trash talk. It's a delicacy, and it's done, especially when it's done well. Okay, I'm still only on chapter 8, which I know isn't very far, but I wanted to come on an update just because I was thinking about how, which I've read The Hunger Games twice now, and I've seen the movies countless times. Obviously, there's always disdain for the Capitol, but I didn't quite realize how widespread it was already. What was it, 25 years prior to at least Catching Fire? It's just crazy that disdain for the Capitol was already so widespread, and his feelings about the Capitol are so clear. Not that Katniss liked the Capitol at all, but I don't remember it being as explicitly stated in the Hunger Games novel as it is in here, just how calculated and evil the Capitol is and how much Haymitch seems to want to make them pay for their actions. And it's not just him, like that's a common thread with the people he associates with, which I didn't really get the vibe of in The Hunger Games, which is kind of sad to think. What's not sad to think about in these books, but just that so many people already had these feelings. You know, this went on for 25 more years before it really hit a tipping point. 25 more years of the same thing every year, like raising kids for slaughter basically, and coming up with new twisted ways to kill them. Like, it's crazy it went on for that long when there was already so much hatred and dislike for what they were doing. We know from the Catching Fire book that the Capitol took its anger out on Haymitch. Even though he won, he was punished. So it's not a spoiler because it was already in Catching Fire. But only being through chapter 8 and seeing his feelings for the Capitol so plainly, and he's already like expressing, I want to make them pay feelings, just makes me wonder what's going to be the, oh, you've humiliated the Capitol moment, and so now we're going to do this to you. And I also think just the differences in the like development of technology in the Capitol is interesting. Like, things in the Hunger Games are pretty high tech with like the way they groom her and the presentations on television, and what they train with is all very high tech, it feels. And the parties and all that. Whereas this very much still feels like they're getting their footing. There's a lot of mistakes being made. There's not nearly as much technology being used. They're only like first introducing mutts. That's one of the things I just read, was that it's like a very new invention, like something that's only been used in like the recent couple games. Whereas like for Katniss, like that was just something to be expected. This book is sad though, oh my gosh. Because we know what happens, there's so many little phrases that are just so heart-wrenching. Him wanting his family to be okay and knowing that they won't be is like so heartbreaking. That like that's his only desire, like making it as smooth as possible for them, not really even worrying about himself. So sad. I was reading this morning because I didn't think anything was gonna happen that was like big. I was so wrong. Right before part 2 starts. If you know, you know. What on earth? What do you mean? Also, I hate President Snow so much. And I just started reading part 2. This is insane. I cannot believe this. I never saw this coming. It is insane to me how much more evil President Snow gets with every installation of a Hunger Games novel. Okay, I'm on chapter 14. It's Sunday, so this book came out on Tuesday, so it's been a good amount of days from release at this point. There's a lot of edits and tweets and memes and things, and I can't look at them because they're spoilers, and I want to be able to watch them so bad and read them so bad. So I'm hoping to finish tomorrow or Tuesday, ideally, fingers crossed. I'm still really enjoying it. Suzanne Collins, no one's doing it like her. I feel so fortunate to like be such a big fan and get to experience like the release of something like this, because I feel like as a newer reader, I feel like I've missed out on a lot of other new releases, so this has been fun, especially as big as this franchise is, to live through. More specific thoughts about the book without giving spoilers. Didn't realize that the rebel feelings would already be so strong. I think I've said that before. I'm really surprised by that. I'm really enjoying that. I didn't expect that. I'm nervous, and we know this from Catching Fire that a lot of bad things happen, and so I'm nervous for that. There's a decision, I'm not going to say what it is, but the tributes make to help them in the games, and I'm interested to see how that pans out, because I feel like it could go two ways. I feel like it could work really well, and I feel like it could work really poorly, and even if it works really well, there's still some downsides to it, so I'm interested to see what comes of that. And then there's also this whole like undercover plan that makes me nervous, to be honest, especially knowing what happens. I'm scared. Yeah, overall I'm still having fun. Nothing that gruesome has happened yet. There has been crazy stuff though, because let me tell you, I saw a tweet or something that was like, you at least gasp once in every chapter, and that is so real. And it's not even like in a cheesy, attention grabbing, like just doing it for the reaction way. Like, it pays off from like the world she's built and these characters. So when one of these things happen, you're like I just had another one of those moments at the end of the last chapter I read. and I'm afraid to read on, to be honest. And I also think I've said this before, but the number of familiar characters, shocking. And they just keep coming. I think a great thing about the Hunger Games is like it's so easy to read, it's so digestible, but it has still such a strong message, especially this day and age. It's just so well written, and the world is so well created, and these characters, Snow having the context of the Ballad and Songbirds of Snakes with this, crazy. 1, he needs a therapist. 2, Lucy Gray lives rent-free in his head. I'm pretty sure she does for the rest of his life. But yeah, just getting more of a look into President Snow's evilness is crazy. And like I said before, the production of the Hunger Games, I didn't expect that to be an interesting part of this book, but it really is. Anyway, it's time for me to go to bed. I'm excited to finish this, and I'm scared to finish this. Okay, it's currently 8:50. I have 160 pages left, and I really want to finish it tonight because I'm so sick of being left out of the conversation. That's my primary motivation. Am I gonna regret this tomorrow? Probably tonight, honestly, when I'm crying, but am I ready? Also, yes. Suzanne Collins knows how to build some tension because reading him going up into the arena, like, makes your heart pound just because of the way I know it's written and seen in the other movies, just the visual and the picture of it in my mind. Even though we've seen it before and it's essentially the same action, it's still written so suspensefully. We know it's a new game, so there's nothing like it that we've read, but we also know how traumatic the other ones are, so my heart's racing, like, oh my god, what is he gonna see when he gets up there? I think I've said this before, but there is something that in almost every chapter, like, it varies in, like, shock, but almost every chapter I gasp or something, and sometimes I'm like, what? Or like, my heart was racing, like this one made my heart race. I'm scared. Page 251. Oh my gosh. The Capitol never fails to top themselves in just how vile they can be. Okay, new observation. Haymitch is so mirror ball coated. All he does is try, and it's like, nothing is going well. And it's like, I don't know, it's the Hunger Games, like, obviously it's gonna be dark, but like, god. Oh my god. Things just keep getting worse. Also, Suzanne Collins does such an amazing job at constantly reminding us of the fact that these are children. Like, I think it's easy to forget, especially as an adult reading. I feel like we picture adults in our mind, especially with Haymitch being our main character and our picture of him being a grown-up. But, like, these are children. Ugh. Ugh, I'm scared. I'm in the last, like, 40 pages. I'm scared. I'm really 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 scared. Ew, what the heck? What? I'm so confused. It's kind of sad how much, like, he doesn't want to keep going, and we know that he has to. Things never cease to get worse. The legacy of Lucy Gray. Unstoppable. Oh my gosh. I literally can't believe that. I thought about this earlier. How did that person get from there to there? No, I know. Atrocities. I'm so scared of what I'm about to read. Oh my god. That was so much worse than I thought it was going to be. That is so much more gruesome than I even could have expected. So evil. Oh my god. That's awful. Ugh. I'm literally not sure how it can get worse. Ugh, this is gonna be bad. Wait, is this for real? Oh my god. This is terrible. Oh my god, that's so sad. Oh my god. That is so evil. Be for real. Hurts. That was traumatic. I was literally like, yeah, that was sad, but people said they were crying until the last page. Now I know why. Wow. Suzanne Collins, the woman that you are. My final statement for the night is that Snow's death was not painful enough. here I am on the other side with a shattered heart. So the first half of my review is going to be spoiler free. Then I'll tell you when we're going to get into the spoilers because I want everyone to have a chance to talk about it. But oh my gosh. Spoiler free. 5 stars. The way this book expanded upon the Hunger Games universe was literally perfect. Like, it's its own story. It didn't take away from any other books. It didn't contradict any other books. It only enhanced them, which I think is kind of hard writing additional books in a series that are kind of spaced out from the original series. The connections between this, the original trilogy, and the Battle of Songbirds and Snakes, amazing. I was so excited to read these games, and it really only solidified how evil Snow is. It's so interesting to see the evolution of the Hunger Games between like the Battle of Songbirds and Snakes, this, and where we know it ends up in the trilogy was so interesting. The plot, I loved it. I heard some complaints that the beginning was like slow, but like everything you learn in the beginning, you need to know in order for what happens to have an impact on you. Like without it, most of it wouldn't be nearly as meaningful, so you needed it. And personally, it didn't bother me. We needed that to see Haymitch's character, his ideology before the games, what he takes with him during the games, and what happens to him and how that turns him after the games into what we know in the trilogy. So many bad things happened in this book. I just felt like things kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. The poor man. Yeah, I literally have like no notes, no critiques. I was worried that it was gonna be like cheesy. It wasn't. It was beautifully tied into the other series. It was done so well. I cannot recommend this book enough if you're a Hunger Games fan. Loved the characters. Getting to know Haymitch, what he was like before his games, was lovely, but made it all the more heartbreaking to know where he ends up. I loved several of the characters that he ends up in the Hunger Games with. I feel like that was vague, but I'm really trying to keep the spoiler-free parts spoiler-free, and so I'm basically just gonna leave it there. I can't say anything else other than this was the perfect addition to the series. I'm amazed in the way that Suzanne Collins can tell a whole new story, but so perfectly tie it in with the original story. But if you are at all interested in this book, you need to read it. You need to read this. If you like the Hunger Games even a little bit, you need to read this. If you're here for the spoilers, now's your time. If you are not here for the spoilers, goodbye. I have so many thoughts, so many opinions, all good of course, but oh my gosh. Are you guys in the trenches like I am? Thought about this book all day today and the tragedies that Haymitch saw. The way we see him in the Hunger Games, like so beaten, so broken down, so resistant to any sort of contact, and seeing the reason why, seeing the fact that Snow literally burned his family down, literally made him kill the love of his life. I don't know how he continued to go on, even though he says many times he doesn't want to, but he trudges through anyway. Heartbreaking how he is so heartbroken about how he caused these things. He makes his own life miserable, pushing everyone away to keep them safe. The fact that he's basically the reason that Katniss's parents got together but pushed them out of his lives. The epilogue, no words. I didn't know what to expect, but the epilogue made me so happy. Like traumatically depressed, but also so happy to see a glimpse after the original trilogy. Like I just did not expect to see that. I was so pleasantly surprised. Oh my gosh. So let me like come together. The plot I loved. I think getting to know Haymitch, Lenore Dove, his love for his family, Lenore Dove's background, his life in the seam. Like you needed to know all of that for what happened to have the same impact, like I said before. Like without that, I don't think his mom and his brother's loss, and specifically Lenore Dove's death, would have meant as much. Of course, they would have been sad regardless. But with that context and feeling his character whole before that made it so much more painful. Seeing the production of the Hunger Games was actually one of the most interesting things to me, how messy it was. Like, of course there are mistakes and there is a lot of horrible propaganda being made in the original trilogy, but like some flat out atrocities are happening and they're just like moving around him. The fact that he wasn't even legally reaped, what? That was like my first like moment, because what do you mean? What do you mean? The evolution of technology, like how mutts were pretty new in this book, whereas in the Hunger Games, like they're to be expected. The number of name drops in this book, holy cow. At first I was like, oh, that's cute, but then like they all came back and had some impact on the story. Like now I want like a Plutarch Heavensbee timeline because him in this book and him in Catching Fire, too similar, but there's a lot of missing gaps. So I'd be really interested to see like even like a novella, though Suzanne Collins could write a million of these and I would read them, but just seeing him here and there made me wonder so many things. It was almost heartwarming in a way to see that Plutarch already was showing signs of rebellion, but it was also sad to see that it took so many years for it to work, and I felt like I said that a lot in the vlog pretty vaguely. Same thing for Haymitch and like the civil distress. Haymitch was already very anti-capital. District 12 was. A lot of people were, and pretty vocally so, whereas I feel like in the original trilogy that sentiment was there, but I don't think it was so explicit. And even Katniss herself like became a face of the rebellion by accident, whereas like Haymitch was more so doing it on purpose, and then she ended up being the one to take it down. That is just so interesting to me. It's sad that all these people were suffering for so long and it took 25 more years for something to really change. The invisible string between Lucy Gray, Lenore Dove, and Katniss Everdeen, and then also between Katniss Everdeen and Haymitch, and also between Katniss Everdeen and Luella, like all of that. Haymitch calling Luella his only sweetheart, and then eventually using that same nickname on Katniss. Oh my gosh, like after reading this, that meant so much more to me. Like if we didn't have all that in the beginning, we wouldn't have gotten that payoff. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like, ugh, everything had meaning, and I love books like that where everything that's said has a purpose. Going back to like name drop characters, not even name drop, like just for like publicity, but like literally like significance on the plot. Mags and Wyrus and Beetee, was not expecting them to be in this book. I can't remember if in Catching Fire, when they're like being reaped again, if Haymitch says like, oh, I worked with them before. I can't really remember that, but oh my gosh, like I was so curious when Mags and Wyrus specifically were in the picture, and they're intelligent, they're talking, they're mentoring, and like I was like, I'm confused because this is not how we know them in Catching Fire, and I kind of assumed their games made them that way. That would be tragic in itself, but the fact that mentoring Haymitch was what did that to them is heartbreaking. Oh my gosh, Beetee's story with his son, heartbreaking. Everything about this book was so tragic. Effie, did not expect Effie to have the impact on this book that she did. Sad to me that it took her, it kind of makes me dislike her a little bit more, honestly. The fact that she saw a good amount of questionable behavior by the Capitol and still took her 25 more years to like really be like, they're doing wrong. Not loving that. The character arc of Haymitch is probably one of the best written character arcs. Like the total transformation he goes through is insane, but also gut-wrenching. How young and optimistic he was. Not even optimistic in a way that like, oh, everything's fine and whatever. Like he knew there were terrible things happening, but like he's like, as long as I've got my family and my girl, like things will be okay. And the fact that even that was stripped from him because of him. The fact that his mom and his brother died a more tragic death than I could have even fathomed myself was awful. I can't think of a worse death than being burned alive, and to have that subjected on your family because of you. I don't know how he continued to go on. He said 50 times he didn't want to keep going, and he did anyway. Him literally hand feeding Lenore Dove the poison that kills her, Snow, deserved a worse death. I wrote that in my review. I think I've said it before. Like, I know he was basically stampeded to death, but I still feel like that wasn't bad enough. There's no villain like him, I don't think. And it makes me want to go back and read the original trilogy to like really hammer in those connections between Haymitch and Katniss. Like, I know most people are connecting Luella and Katniss together, which yes, but to me, I just saw so much of Haymitch and Katniss reflected in each other. There being so much foreshadowing about how we just need one more person to try this again. One person one day will be the face of the revolution, will get this to work. And the fact that it ended up being her and he ended up being the person to mentor her. And that he had the connection, like the sweetheart connection. Oh my god. The fact that Katniss ended up being that for him, and then also being the thing that like made him let people in again. Like, I just keep thinking of connections. Like, also the Covey connection between all of them, the obvious disdain that Snow has for Lucy Gray, and like the inability to let that situation go. Horrible. I loved that the use of music was so deep in this. When they started singing The Hanging Tree, I got freaking chills. Another moment that gave me chills was Luella's body double. Never in a million years did I expect that, and it makes me wonder, like, if in other games, I mean, of course it had happened before, but like, just makes you wonder, like, what lengths were they willing to go to? Opens up a whole can of worms of all the things that are possible that the Capitol could have done, probably did. I finished this last night and I'm recording this now, and I just can't wait to get online. There's a lot of political stuff that's like happened in the last 24 hours, and there's nothing on my feed about Sunrise on the Reaping like there was before, of course. So I'm hoping it comes back, and I want to read some analysis about this book, because I feel like I'm like spewing fangirling at you. I feel like I'm not really making any mind-boggling connections. Like, these are just connections I was making while I was reading. This is nothing revolutionary. I'm just telling you my reactions. Gosh, there's so much of this book I probably missed. There were so many connections. Like, I can't even understate that. Like, holy cow. So amazing, so amazing, so amazing. But truly, I think my favorite part of this book was, one, seeing the destruction of Haymitch, which is horrible, but it was so well told. And second, the epilogue. I love the original trilogy so much, and to just get a little teeny glimpse of those characters one last time meant a lot to me. So anyway, that's all I have for you. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Put a little spoiler thing before you type any spoilers, but I want to know your spoiler thoughts too. Like, give me all of the thoughts. I need to know. Give me your analysis. Give me your favorite characters. Maisie Donner. I didn't even talk about her. Love her so much. Her character arc was amazing. When Haymitch thought he saw her at the end, heart-wrenching. Her mouth, like no other. Joanna from Catching Fire, y'all have been like this, okay? She made me laugh more than anyone else in this book. Anyway, 5 stars. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you next time.